Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you have your calendars out because we are going through every single book that is releasing in the month of May, or at least the ones that I'm interested in / the ones I know y'all will be interested in. We are covering a whole slew of genres, so get comfy, get cozy, let's roll into this thing. The first book release we have in May is on May 2nd, and this is The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata. By the time y'all see this video, this book will already be out, and I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. I actually think that this one is a romantasy, by the way, which is very interesting to me because I feel like she normally writes romance books. But from what I've gathered, we are following this girl, and this girl when she was younger got a magical dog. And then the girl has to run away from something and she ends up on a ranch in Colorado. That is what the synopsis says. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. It's over 700 pages and the reviews are a little mixed matchy right now. But she is the queen of slow burn. Like if you are after a slow burn, she is who you want. So I may or may not be picking this one up. This is the day where like every single book is coming out. I'm not even kidding you. Let's start with romance and then we'll go through the other genres. One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This is not the direct sequel to Every Summer After, but it is following one of the brothers from Every Summer After. So you don't have to have read Every Summer After first to go into One Golden Summer, but it's definitely going to be recommended. I'm actually reading the arc of this book right now and I'm absolutely loving it. This is definitely an amazing start of summer book. I do wish I would have saved it for when I was on the beach, but what can I do at this point? What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is a marriage of convenience, second chance romance. We are following our main female character. She runs into her ex-boyfriend while she is abroad. And her ex-boyfriend is actually a Dutch foreign exchange student that her parents hosted while they were in high school together. So the two of them had a little bit of a forbidden romance going for them, and eventually when he had to go back home, the romance sizzled out. As I said, she runs into him. He tells her that he actually is needing to get married so that he can inherit something from his family. She actually just agrees to marry him and we are in a marriage of convenience story. I feel like I will love this. This is one of my favorite tropes. Very excited. Riding the High by Paisley Hope. This is a cowboy romance. I believe this is the third in the series, but they're interconnected standalones. You can read them out of order. I will probably be doing that because I have not read the first two yet. They get married in Vegas. One of them is the newly appointed sheriff in their town. The other is the congressman's daughter. And this is a very interesting take on the trope because instead of having to fake their relationship to the town, let everyone think that, oh my gosh, they were just in love this whole time. No, they are hiding the fact that they got married from everybody. So this is like a secret Vegas wedding. And you know this is gonna end up blowing up in their face and I'm gonna love that. I'm gonna eat it up because fictional drama, I eat up every single time. Can't blame me. Friends with Benefits by Marissa Cantor. This is another marriage of convenience storyline. So May 6th is just the time for marriage convenience, which means I'm gonna be a happy camper. We are following these two lifelong best friends. They are obviously the ones that end up in this marriage of convenience situation. But let's add in the fact that Theo, who's our main male character, has been in love with Evie, our main female character, their whole lives. Literally has been in love with her since the day he laid eyes on her when they were little kids. He's not really mad about the fact that maybe they could just get married and it'll solve all their problems. Evie, on the other hand, doesn't want to get married. Not just to Theo, but in general. She does not want to get married at all. And it's definitely going to end up being a very interesting dynamic between the two of them. This book has also been pitched for people that are fans of Catherine Center and Emily Henry, thus making this a perfect summer romance. I'm very excited for this one. We have Time Loops and Meet Cutes by Jackie Lau. This book literally sounds like an early 2000s rom-com. Not even kidding you. We are following our main character, Noelle, and Noelle keeps reliving the same day over and over and over again. And she keeps meeting this guy who literally can't remember her. He cannot remember her, and so she's getting frustrated out here, and I'm assuming there's gonna be a love story between the two of them. But Noelle is also thinking to herself, oh my goodness, like if I get out of this time loop, what if I never see this guy again and he literally can never remember me? So all this chemistry and flirtation, like what if it never leads to anything? Does that not sound like an early 2000s movie? That sounds just like one. And it sounds like something that I will absolutely adore. Audra and Bash Are Just Friends. I don't know if it's Audra or Audrey. There are two different pronunciations online, but this is actually a YA romance. And apparently if you've ever read 7 Days in June, you see our female main character in that book. She's the daughter of those two characters, which I haven't read that book yet, but it's on my TBR. Oh my goodness. And this is by Tia Williams. I don't even know if I mentioned that. Honestly, I think that's really cool that we now have a YA book from one of the characters in this non-YA book. So it kind of is joining in these two different demographics together to enjoy a very similar story of sorts. I love the idea of maybe this kid who's 16 years old, they pick up this book, they love it, in a few years they learn that, oh my gosh, this actually stemmed from this book, and they pick that one up. And I feel like that's a cool little rotation, a cool little cycle. Very intrigued by that premise, and I think that that's an awesome idea. Next, we have Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I've already read this book and I loved it. This is the best romantasy book of 2025 so far, in my opinion. I'm gonna need each and every one of you to go run and pick this book up. Also, this book has already been picked up by Amazon to be adapted into either a TV show or a movie, which is insane to me since this book isn't even out yet. I feel like that rarely happens. In this book, we are following Odessa, and Odessa is one of the princesses in her kingdom. Her dad, who is the king, he remarried when her mother passed away, and so Odessa now has a stepmom, and she has multiple half-siblings. Her half-sibling May is basically the jewel of the kingdom. Everyone loves her, adores her, and she is the one that the king has betrothed to a neighboring kingdom's prince. Odessa, on the other hand, is the child that's kind of been pushed aside. She's always forced to wear gray. She's forced to dye her hair this mousy color instead of the vibrant red that it is. When this prince from the neighboring kingdom actually comes early to collect his betrothed so that they can get married, the guy who is with him, who essentially is like a big old security guard that everyone is freaked out by, he looks at Odessa, and when the king is like, here is May, here is your betrothed, you guys will be so happy together, this man, who is called the Guardian, by the way, speaks for the prince and says, no, we want her instead, and points to Odessa. So now Odessa is the one being forced to marry this prince. Odessa realizes that they don't trust her. The Guardian is not leaving her side. There's this weird back and forth banter between the two of them. They can't stand each other. And there is a slow burn. There is yearning, and this is spectacular. This is spectacular. We have Silver Elite by Danny Francis. This is a new dystopian book. It's the first book in a trilogy. We are following our main female character, and she is having to hide her psychic abilities. She also is having to hide her attraction for this commanding officer, who I'm assuming is an opposing force for her. I'm assuming they're not on the same side of whatever is going on. And that just sounds phenomenal. I actually don't need to know anything else for that. I will say that this is being pitched as like Hunger Games for adults / Katniss for adults. That's a horrible pitch to give this book, in my honest opinion, because that sounds nothing like the Hunger Games, except it's a dystopian. There's no games or trials or anything like that. It's literally just a dystopian. So I do think that the marketing is setting it up for a lot of people being disappointed. And I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I digress, and I still will be picking this one up very, very soon. Moving on to mystery thrillers coming out on this day, we have The Tenant by Frida McFadden. Frida McFadden is hit or miss for a lot of people. I understand that her books are very bingeable though. Like if you need something to pull you out of a reading slump, or you literally just want to read a book in one sitting, pick up a Frida McFadden book. She will probably do the trick. In this book, we were following Blake. Blake gets fired from his really good job, I'm not gonna lie to you, and now he cannot make ends meet with this brownstone apartment that he owns. And so he decides to rent out a room to this woman named Whitney, and these strange things start going down. Secrets are revealed, some uncomfortable aspects are coming to the surface, coming to light, and you go from there. I don't want to know anything else in a thriller, so we're giving the bare minimum with a synopsis. We have Parents Weekend. This is taking place during these kids' freshman year of college. Obviously, their parents are coming in for Parents Weekend. The parents tell them, we will meet you up for dinner. We will all get caught up. It will be amazing. The parents show up for dinner, but the kids don't. And then apparently all 5 of these kids are missing, and the story goes from there. The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. In this book, we are following this girl, and her sister went missing years ago. Honestly, ever since her sister's been missing, she has not really been living her life. She's been in this rut that she isn't able to get out of. She has a little bit of false hope, like, oh, like maybe they will end up finding her, but 7 years has passed at this point. But this other girl comes into her life and says, oh my goodness, the same thing happened to me. My sister was taken the exact same way yours was. It had to have been the same person. And this gives our main female character a false sense of security, a false sense of optimism, thinking, oh my gosh, like maybe they're still out there, maybe we should work together, but things aren't adding up for some reason. And we will figure that out once we read the book, guys. Thrashers by Julie Soto. This is a YA thriller. At this school, there is an elite group of kids called the Thrashers. You were either with them or you were just not a popular kid. There's this one girl who desperately wanted to be a Thrasher, but when she turns out being unalived, there's a lot of talk going on about this group and what's going on inside this group. And this just sounds like a CW show. You cannot tell me it doesn't. And I love Julie Soto's writing. I absolutely adore Not Another Love Song from her. So I'm very, very interested to see how she handles a YA book. We have a couple of horror books coming out on May 6th as well. Nightbirds. And I'm pretty sure this book actually has a romance subplot to it because we are following Ruby and Charlie. Ruby and Charlie were once together, they no longer are. Charlie actually lives on this boat. And so when he goes to dock and he ends up finding Ruby there, he's immediately shocked, but then he's a little more shocked when he sees that Ruby is there with a woman and a very young girl telling him that you are the only one who can help us right now. And if you're wondering what the heck they're running from, it's not the police or anything like that. The woman that is with Ruby has just fled this coven of witches and they don't have anywhere else to go, but going on a boat seems like the safest option. This little area that they're at is called the Floating Forest, and so there are all these creatures and creepy crawly things going on. And then you add in the element of this woman running from this coven of witches and messy things are bound to go down. Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee. This book is following the aftermath of this woman who just passed. This woman was the first Chinese American actress to win an Oscar. When she passes and they read off her will, it actually throws these two families together into this huge manor. And this manor sets the stage for all of these secrets to come to the surface from both of these families. Like multi-generational secrets are bubbling up, and some of these secrets should have stayed buried. This book has also been pitched as Mexican Gothic meets The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That is an incredible pitch. Quickly moving into historical fiction, we have Shop Girls. Now this takes place at a mall in the 1980s in San Francisco. I don't really care anything else about it because I love the setting of a mall. And apparently there's a huge found family aspect to this book along with a lot of self-discovery. This definitely sounds like a historical fiction book that I will absolutely adore, and it's on the shorter side. Our last genre for May 6th is lit fic / contemporary, and so we have Home of the American Circus. In this book we are following Freya, and Freya honestly just leaves where she's at. She completely bails on everything. She leaves her job, she goes back home, and as she is going back home, she's reconnecting with her old friends, old flames, that sort of thing. She actually comes across her 15, 16-year-old niece who is living in a dilapidated house by herself. And Freya and her niece actually come together to start building this house back up, and they're starting to learn more about each other and how both of them got to this place. And this book is really just exploring broken families, weight of certain decisions, and kind of the journey of finding yourself again. Names by Florence Knapp. This is another book of the month choice. In this book we are following Cora, and Cora takes her 9-year-old daughter Maya with her to go register her son's name. Now, let's talk about Cora's husband. Cora's husband is a very well-respected man in their community. He is a doctor. People love him, but you know what? At home, he's not great. At home, he's horrible. He does a complete 180, and he tells Cora, "You're naming our son after me." Cora doesn't know what to do. She takes Maya to the register, and when she gets there and they ask her, what name are we giving this boy? She goes through these different options in her head and how these options will end up affecting the rest of their lives. The original daughter. In this book, we are following Genevieve. Genevieve's mom is battling cancer, and it does not look like she is going to win this battle. And so Genevieve's mom's final request is, I need you to go talk to your estranged cousin. You would think that this would be something a little easier for her to oblige and do, but Genevieve refuses. Something very, very bad went down with Genevieve and their estranged cousin and their family to where she doesn't even want to follow through with this request. And you kind of go through their family dynamics and you figure out what the heck happened and how can we move forward, or if we even can. This was an aardvark pick for the month of May, and I almost got this one. Depending on how the reviews for this one end up going, I might get it in my June box. My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I've actually never read a Frederick Bachman book before, but I've heard his writing style is fantastic, and this was also a book of the month option for May. I believe the story is following these 4 teenagers and how their lives affected a complete stranger's life 25 years later. The reviews for this are also phenomenal. I literally think the overall rating is like a 4.54 or something like that, which is insane for a book that's not even out yet. That is actually crazy. Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is the third book in the Skyland series. I love this series. If you have not picked up this series, stop what you're doing right now. It will not hurt my feelings. Go run and order the first 2 books before I let go, and This Could Be Us. They're interconnected standalones though, so you don't have to read those 2 before hopping into this newest one. But you should, because they are phenomenal and I sobbed my eyes out during both of them. I'm not going to say too much about this book because honestly, I don't know. I love going in blind to Kennedy Ryan's books. We are following Hendrix, who is a character that we've seen in both of the previous books. Hendrix ends up meeting this man at this party and she is immediately drawn to him. And then she learns she can't have him. She learns that he is forbidden for some reason, but the attraction is there. And I've heard that the slow burn is a true slow burn in this story. And I will be reading this one on release day. I'm not even kidding when I say this is my most anticipated book of the year. That is how much I love this series, and I'm anticipating this to be a 5-star. Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Heron Blake. We are following our main female character. She is living her dreams. She is at this art school. She wants to be, I believe, like a costume designer in Hollywood. And then her father gets into a horrible accident and she has to move back home, and she ends up being a waitress in this small town for years. Like years have passed at this point. She ends up coming across this opportunity to kind of bring her back into the Hollywood space. And she's very excited for this, except someone else that is involved in this project is someone that she has a history with. Will sparks be flying? Will Ramona be able to get past this hurdle, move on? Will they go back into their old flame? Who's to say? Who knows? But we will find out on May 13th. A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the second book in the saga of the Unfated. I have not read the first book. I want to read it. I've heard it's phenomenal. I am waiting until this is a finished series for me to dive into it and binge it, but I know that some of y'all might be anticipating this one, so I did want to include it. But since it is a direct sequel, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Moving on. For mystery and thriller, we have Man Made of Smoke by Alex North. This is the author of The Whisper Man. And in this book, we are following a man named Dan. And Dan has been haunted by an event that happened when he was a kid. So this was something he witnessed. And this affects him so deeply that he actually becomes a criminal profiler. When Dan's father passes away unexpectedly, Dan goes back home and he starts getting suspicious of a couple of things. And this kind of takes him back to how he felt when he was a kid. And I'm assuming the story is really going to dive into what happened to Dan and what is happening right now. 1 in 4 by Lucinda Berry comes out this day, and if y'all have not read anything by Lucinda Berry, I think that she writes in a very similar manner to Frida McFadden. So if you like Frida McFadden, you'll probably enjoy Lucinda Berry's books. I will say that Lucinda Berry tends to be a bit more graphic than Frida McFadden. This book is focusing on a new reality TV show about former child stars and them grappling with how fame affected them. I believe a therapist is literally involved in this reality show, by the way. And when crazy things go down, like maybe some unaliving, they have to look into the therapist as well to kind of dive not just in the former childhood stars background, but the therapists as well. And who knows what's going to be brought up. Dying to Meet You by Serena Brown. In this book, we are following our main female character. She had just gotten out of a relationship and she literally is just following his little like avatar on Find My Friends. And it gets to the point where she starts driving pretty close to where he's at. She wants to be in close proximity. And when she thinks that like maybe he's being intimate with someone in the car, she decides to, you know, get even closer. And instead of running into him or maybe talking to him, no, she actually becomes the #1 suspect because he has just been murdered. And so now she has to explain to everyone, no, like I wasn't involved in his death. I didn't even know that he died. I was just, you know, following him without his knowledge. Crazy! Does that not sound insane? Immaculate Conception. And this book takes place in the art world, which is very, very competitive. So this book has a competitive nature to it. And apparently this book goes even further and adds in an obsessive friendship element. And essentially when one of these friends is really rising up in her career, she is becoming slightly famous, the other one doesn't want to lose that friendship with her. She doesn't want to lose her friend to fame, so she will do whatever it takes to keep her friend. Literary fiction, contemporary world, main characters comes out. And I'm just gonna tell you the tagline because that's all I need to know and it's all you need to know. It is Parent Trap for adults. Someone drop a mic because that is a fantastic tagline. Parent Trap for adults. That That is one of my favorite movies to ever exist, the Lindsay Lohan one, of course. I will be reading this. I will probably be reading this on release day. Oh my gosh, and imagine reading this like while you're at the lake or the beach or the pool. Perfect. On May 15th, Spotlight by Rebecca Genshak comes out. This is going to be on Kindle Unlimited. This is the 4th book in her Holland Brothers series. It's a series of interconnected standalones, so you can read them out of order. I actually read the 2nd book first, and I was not confused at all. I believe that this one is a single parent with a retired baseball player, maybe like former Playboy baseball player. I'm not quite sure about their dynamic, obviously, because I haven't read the book yet, but I love the single parent trope. I love it, I love it, I love it. 1000% you will see this in my May wrap up. 1000%. The first 3 books were so fun and got me out of the worst slump of my life. So we have Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt. This is a second chance romance. It is technically a part of a series, but again, I believe they're interconnected standalones and you don't have to read them in order, but I think the first book is called Savor It. Now, I have not read the first book yet. I've heard it's fantastic. I don't know if I'm going to jump straight into Left of Forever or if I'm going to go back and read Savor It, but either way, I will be reading these. Left of Forever not only is a bit of a second chance, but I believe it is between 2 people who were married, had a kid, and divorced. Like, I'm pretty sure they are taking their kid to college and they are basically just trapped in a car for a hot second and other things go down and they may or may not rekindle their love. I absolutely adore a marriage in crisis storyline and I absolutely adore a second chance. So putting those 2 together, giving us a marriage that is literally over, but adding in the second chance should just be a recipe for something that I will adore. Oh, I feel like I'll adore it. Another book that has this marriage is kind of over second chance vibe to it is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And I love that book. I talked about it earlier in this video. I love it. 5 stars, one of my favorite books of last year. Hopefully Left of Forever will fill that void that Before I Let Go left once I finished it. Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford comes out this day, and this is Rio's story. This is the last book in the Windy City series. I almost love this series. I did not like the first book. That is Mile High. I DNF'd it. I fully read 52% of that book, couldn't do anymore, put it down. I was done with it. I heard amazing things about the rest of the series, so I picked up the rest of the books and I binge read them in 3 days. They are huge, and I read a book a day for 3 days. Loved. I'm curious to see where Rewind It Back is going to fall, because Rewind It Back is a character that was pretty prominent in Mile High, which is the one I DNF'd. But I think this is a second chance. I think they were also like childhood friends / grew up next door to one another, and something happened between the 2. They went their separate ways and something is bringing them back. I will be checking it out, but I am a little hesitant going into it. The Love Haters by Catherine Center. This is another book of the month choice. I got this one in my box as an add-on because, as you can see behind me, I have all of her books that were offered through Book of the Month because I love Catherine Center. She is the perfect author for summer / if you were at a pool or the beach, pick up a Catherine Center book. You won't be able to put it down. In this book, we're following Katie. Katie's been having a rough time recently, and also her job isn't going the best. She kind of thinks she's gonna get fired when her boss offers her the opportunity to go do a huge piece / profile on his brother, who is a swimmer. She accepts it. Obviously, because she doesn't want to get fired. But here's the little kicker, guys. She can't swim. She can't swim at all. So when she's having to get very involved for this piece, she can't do it. So she's having to fake everything. And so she's like, you know what? How about I just teach myself to swim when I get there? When I get to Key West, I will quickly teach myself to swim so that it'll be no harm, no foul. Will be fine. No one will ever have to know. Obviously, people are going to find out because this is a rom-com. We're going to have some issues, but I am so excited for this one. Ride With Me by Simone Saltani. This is the second book in the Lights Out series. First book is Cross the Line. I really enjoyed Cross the Line. I think I ended up giving it a 3.5 star rating. The tropes are not my favorite in that book, but in this book, I love the tropes. The tropes are my bread and butter. And that is because this is a marriage of convenience storyline. I told you, May is marriage of convenience month. The synopsis of this book sounds very similar to Play Along by Liz Tomford. It is my favorite book in that series. We were following this girl. She got left at the altar, and so she's not enjoying anything. So when she's having to go to a bachelorette party, she's gonna have one too many drinks. And then we're following this F1 racer who happens to be at Vegas at the same exact time. And before they know it, they end up at a 24-hour chapel getting married in Vegas. Not Safe for Work. This is an office nemesis to lovers romance. And I cannot wait for this one. The reviews are so good. I believe our main female character also suffers from chronic headaches, which I feel like is something that I don't read about often. In this book, we're following our two main characters, and they both get offered a 3-week, all expenses paid trip to Hawaii for a training program. Obviously, they both accept. Why would you not? These two are rivals, by the way. They are rivals through and through, but we get that forced proximity while they're in Hawaii. Their normal enemies / rivals dynamic is kind of becoming a little more flirty. There's a little more banter happening. There's some chemistry between the two of them while they're on a work trip. Yes, I will be reading this. That sounds so good. This is also the author of Trials of the Sun Queen. Moving into fantasy, we have my most anticipated fantasy of the year. This is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Rachel Gillig is the author of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. If you've not read that duology, stop what you're doing, leave this video, go pick them up and read them right now. That series is a gothic fantasy series with a romance subplot, and it is so well done. It is immersive, the most intricate and unique magic system I've ever read, and I have high expectations for her newest series. In this book, we are following Sybil. Sybil is a diviner, and she receives dreams from these godly figures known as omens. When the 5 other diviners that Sybil knows starts disappearing, Sybil's getting a little worried. And Sybil decides to seek help from someone who completely drives her batty, and that is the king's best knight. Two of them must go on a journey together to figure out what the heck is going on. I have one thriller for this day, and that is We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. I don't know anything about this book except Sarah Pinborough is the author of Behind Her Eyes, and I've heard that that book is phenomenal. The reviews for this one are also looking pretty good. In this book, we are following this family, and when some kind of accident almost wipes out her family, she decides to take them from the bustling city to this house in the countryside. And this house is gorgeous, except our main female character feels like something's wrong. She feels like something is off, and she's the only one that's getting this feeling, especially at night. In fact, she believes that this house is haunted by someone who was unalived here. Her husband does not believe her, but she is convinced. She has now become obsessed with figuring out why this house is making her feel this way. And as she is learning secrets about the house, she's also learning secrets between her and her husband. A Good Book by Julie Ann. This is the 3rd book in her Sunday series? I don't know if that's the name. I'll put the name down here. I've read the 2nd book. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I've heard that the 3rd book is even better. The 2nd book reminded me a bit of Dirty Dancing, and I've heard the 1st book is like Footloose. I don't know what the 3rd book's going to be compared to, but apparently we are following this girl who has always been in love with her sister's ex. Now, she was very young when her sister was dating this boy. And now that she's in college, she's like, oh my gosh, like maybe I should give him a chance. My sister's not dating him. It's been many, many years. But oh no, I've never kissed a boy before. Ugh, what am I to do? So she decides to ask her guy best friend for advice and help. And when they have their first kiss, or first and second kiss, they can't get each other out of their minds, but something happens to him to where he has to withdraw from college and go back home. I do not know what happens after that moment, but if I had to guess from the last book, it's going to be on the heavier side. It's a love story by Annabelle Monaghan. I've read 2 books from this author before, and they were so good. If you like Emily Henry or Abby Jimenez, this is the author for you. I highly recommend Summer Romance by her. In this book, we are following Jane, and Jane used to be a teenage TV star. And now that she's older, she is an executive at a movie studio. And at the studio, they want this one specific actor to take this newest role, and her only in/connection with this guy is the cinematographer who she kind of had a crush on at one point, but now they can't stand each other. His name is Dan. And they are having to work together to try and get this one actor on the movie. All in all, this is like rivals to lovers, forced proximity, a bit of second chance, but wrap that all up in a summer beach read vibe. Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood comes out. Now this one is very dicey. Some people are very excited, some people are not. I am in the middle, and that's not even because of the synopsis. It's just because I'm very 50-50 with Ali Hazelwood. I either love her books or they're just like meh. I will be reading this one though, because I do want to figure out where this one falls in the ranking for me. And also I want to get a 5-star from Ali Hazelwood. One day I will get a 5-star from her. I'm determined. And this is a brother's best friend romance. And he is quite older than her. I think there's like a 13, 14-year-old age gap. She's well over 18. Do not fret. She is well over 18. And when they're both traveling to her brother's destination wedding, the two of them are now in forced proximity. And as things are going crazy at this wedding, our main female character is like, well, you know what? If things are going crazy, maybe I should just have a fling. Let's have a fling. And I'm assuming that they do. Change Your Heart by Bailey Hannah comes out on this day. This is a cowboy romance series. Interconnected standalones. I've heard if you are a fan of the Chestnut Spring series, you will very much enjoy this series. In this book, we are following our main female character, and she is returning home. She is reluctantly coming back to her hometown, and she also ends up seeing the cowboy who is the reason that she went away. That means we're getting a second chance romance. Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. This is the 6th book in the Boys of Tommen series. I would not read these out of order, just an FYI. I know I've said that several times throughout this video. I would not read this one out of order. This is Lizzie and Hugh's story, I believe, and it is going to be heavy. I'm gonna tell you that right here, right now. It's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna sob my eyes out, and I'm probably gonna vlog the experience because it's gonna hurt, and I'm not gonna be okay, but we'll have an extra book right here. So there's that. I was hoping it was going to be another Claire and Gibbsy story. Maybe we'll get that down the road. Laura Pavlov's new book, I think it's You, Me, and Forever. That title could be wrong. I'll put the cover here. That way we can get some confirmation. This, I think, is a standalone. It takes place in Alaska. Following this girl, she had a falling out with her best friend. She just broke up with her boyfriend. Like, a lot is going down for her. So when she gets to this town, she has a one-night stand. And she's like, I will never see this guy again. It was a great night. Cool. Moving on with my life. This guy that she had a one-night stand with, he's actually a real estate agent, which, okay, cool, no big deal. But he's like a rival real estate agent. So there's an enemies to rivals aspect to it, except they've already been intimate with one another and there's still that chemistry. She's like, well, I'm supposed to hate you, but I've already gotten with you, so what am I supposed to do right now? And I will devour this book. This is going to be like a 10 p.m. I can't sleep. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Let's read this in one sitting type of deal. Hat Trick by Chelsea Curto. This is the 4th book in the DC Stars series. This is a series that can be read out of order because they are interconnected standalones and they do not affect the other. Lexi and Riley's book, I want to say, and I believe that this is going to be one of Chelsea Curto's heavier books because it does deal with an injury and them having to do rehabilitation together. But also they've been having chemistry throughout all 4 books. Like, the chemistry has been there. And I think that the premise of this is like, we'll just do it one time, we'll get it out of our system, never again. That never works. I don't know who has that thought and thinks it's gonna work because it never works. And I'm just gonna be cheesing the whole time while I read this thing. I might be crying because I said it's gonna be heavy, but I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna be cheesing, I'm gonna be crying, I'm gonna be cheesing, I'm gonna be crying. That's about it. And maybe it'll end up being a 5-star. I haven't had a 5-star in that series yet, even though Slapshot was really close. Guys, those are all the books that are coming out in May. I definitely have missed a few because May is an insane publishing month, but these are all the ones that I'm interested in and / the ones that I think y'all will also be interested in. Comment down below, what book are you most anticipating in May? Like, on release day, you're pulling up to the bookstore, you are buying a copy of this thing. But until next time, guys, I will see y'all around. I love y'all and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye, guys.